Well, I'm not sure how I caught this, but it just didn't look right to my eye when I laid this out. And how I laid this stabilizer out is I went around it with a stick pin and then took the center lines and I cut it out so that it's correct. However, the drawings are a 1/4 inch off. And how I figured that out was I flipped it over like so on the center line, and it's a 1/4 inch off. I don't understand how that happened at all. I can hardly believe that a draftsman would make that kind of mistake, but if you get the plans, these Continental plans, I know for a fact that this stabilizer was equal panel on each side. It wasn't a 1/4 inch difference. I thought it was even more than that. That optical illusion just something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my red material here. I want to be absolutely sure they're even on both sides. Hopefully I got enough to do one panel. We're going to cut a template. And I just have enough to do it. And that way I can flip it over from one side to the other and get both sides exact. That really freaks me out. Anyway, what happened was I'm digging through my scrap wood, and when I built the Continental XL, I had, or the Monado, excuse me, XL, I had cut 2 elevator stabilizers, and I used the lightest one. Well, as I told you, I'm not spending any money. I'm using up all my old stuff on this. Because the other one was bigger, I just laid the pattern out, measured it up and laid the pattern out, and cut the smaller one out of it. And it's already grooved for my hinges on that one. So that's another time-saving thing I don't have to worry about. So what we're going to do on this, instead of cutting it, I'm going to draw it and sand it so that both sides are exactly identical. Because to be honest with you, the tip shapes on both sides of this is a little different. And I'm not sure that it would matter much. It's just that I would like it to be correct, and this is the first Continental I've built off of this set of plans. And I had the original model airplane news plans years ago, and these are slightly different. So now let's see what we got here. Yeah, 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. So we'll trace around it here. I'm still on day 6 for those who are interested. The wing is detail sanded up. Boy, it was way out. I know I probably could have got away with a bigger elevator stabilizer, but as I said, I want this to be as correct as possible. So I'm going to cut the camera and I'm going to sand this on the disc sander, and I'll be back. But if you notice, the groove is already cut in this piece of wood, so we're just one step ahead here. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright, the disc sander made quick work of that, so that's a good thing. We'll sand up to the line. And this way I have the correct shape and size, both sides. It doesn't take long to build these airplanes. I'll probably have the stabilizer shape sanded and ready to go tonight before I go to bed. That way all that's left is build the fuselage. And we can do that in one day. So now we are going to do the elevators. Let's see, the long one. I think we'll do it this way. I'll show you the pinprick method. This method is something that I used to do a million years ago, back in the late 60s, early 70s. You just stick the wood underneath the plan set. And get a T-pin. And about every 1/4 inch make a pinprick. If I had a sign painter's pounce wheel, I would just pounce it, you know, run the pounce wheel over the top of that for making a pattern, but I don't have that tool anymore. And I'm not going to buy it just for pattern making. And for the end here, to make sure that we have the exact curve, I'm going to use the stabilizer as a template. We'll just go down the line. I really don't have to. I could tighten it up with a pen. Yeah, I'll do that. So, it's hard to believe an airplane can fly with that small elevator stabilizer. So we'll just get one cut and use that as a pattern. And that's basically how I lay them out. We'll cut it up and we'll be good to go. Hope everybody can see what I'm doing here. If I wasn't doing this on camera, I would just take my bandsaw and whack that off. which I might do anyway because it's got a hard spot in it. I'll be right back. I made fast work out of that. So we roughed it out there on the bandsaw real quick. Take the straight edge and cut all the straights with the grain. This just gives you a glimpse on how I can do things so fast. It's all about tools and knowing how to lay things out. We'll do this first one on camera and then I'll cut the camera and do the other one. No sense in running the video over and over doing the same thing. If you remember, if you watch my Monado videos, which the Monado videos are available here on Control Line Craftsman, you'll see that I CA'd the tip so we didn't break that off. I'll do the same here. Because this elevator is the same principle, but slightly different shape. Sand up to the line. Scratch building is so much fun. I like it. Takes no time at all. I'm going to buzz this off on the disc sander. You got that? And finish rounding it off. When I bend the horns up, I'll show you how I do that, which is not a big deal. Let's see if it fits. It will take a little bit of adjustment, but it's not bad. And that's how it goes together. So now, I got a bottle with some sandpaper on it. Sand up to the line. An elevator stabilizer like this with my hinging system is a little bit tricky because you can't have the tang get caught up in the end, so it takes a little bit of finesse to round this, sink the hinges, and make the ends fit so that it doesn't hang up. Well, let's see if it's the correct size. And it fits the plans perfectly, as it should. So I'll go ahead and cut the other one off camera. And then we'll come back and I'll shape them, which I've showed how to shape them before on the Monado build. It doesn't take me, but if I wasn't making a movie, I could build this elevator stabilizer in an hour. Finish sand, sanded and everything, ready to install. Hour and a half tops, ready to install. And that's not a joke. I mean, it's all in knowing what to do, and that's what I'm passing on here at Control Line Craftsman. I hope you're getting something out of it. It's, like I say, it's very difficult for me to be the cameraman and the builder, the producer, the editor. I've just about got to do everything. So, let's see here. Yep. Director. Can't believe I didn't get it up high enough. There we go. I don't want to give you a comparison between the wing and the elevator stabilizer. And this is really close to the plans. There are some mistakes on the plans, like I pointed out, about the nose length, the fuse length, and I believe the wingspan. I thought it was 56, but this set of plans says 55. So we'll build it at 55, and if I get somebody says something, I'll say, hey man, I'll bring the plans with me. Built right from the plans. So here's the correlation between the two. It's hard to believe that an airplanes flew with this small elevator stabilizer, but they did. So the Continental will live. And when it's done, it'll look just like my XL, just like Tom's Continental. There's going to be a few subtle changes. Tom has AMA on the left wing. Let's see. And 5774, which was his AMA number then, on the right wing. And I'm going to have Continental where the AMA is here, and then my number on the right wing. And he has those old gold decals I was talking about. They seem like they sold them in hardware stores. They were water slide gold decals for mailboxes. Well, we're going to have gold leaf. We'll have real gold leaf. I am going to paint the Pilot exactly the same. It'll have the air tanks just like the Monado has. On this one, I'll be using the SIG 9-inch canopy. Not the World War II, but the bubble 9-inch bubble canopy, which was used on this. They call for something else, but I know for a fact it was a SIG 9-inch canopy. And in the magazine here, they state it to be something else. I know it here. Dubro. A Dubro canopy. And I'm just about positive it was a SIG canopy, or maybe the SIG and Dubro are the same, I'm not sure. But it'll have the big fairings, like my Continental XL. About the only changes I'm going to make is I'm not going to make the tail wheel as long. That tail wheel is horrendously long. And the gold leaf. And we'll try to keep it as close as possible to what Tom's airplane was, because I really loved this airplane. It was just, it was the airplane for me at the time. We're going to go with my hinges instead of the plate hinges. They even have a rib set in here to cut out. And this airplane originally was a D-tube, and we have it built as a C-tube. And I think if I had to do it again, I'd probably build it as a D-tube, which I built many of them in the 90s, 80s and 90s as D-tubes. And we're even going to have the banana wheel pants. So, I don't know. It's coming along. 6 days into it. Got the wing done. we'll have the elevator and stabilizer done tonight, and all that's left to build is the fuselage, so possibly by the end of the week we'll have it framed up. I'll show you how to bend the gear and make a real nice set of landing gear. We're going to do them crazy wheel pants that he did, where the gear runs down right through the center. However, I probably will make them take apart so that I can change the tire, because the stunt hanger wheels that I got, that I've been using, and you can buy from Stunt Hanger, and you can also get spare tires. You don't have to buy the whole wheel, you can just replace the tire. I noticed after one summer of flying, the outboard wheel is about a 1/16 of an inch shorter than the inboard wheel from scuffing on the pavement, kind of like Howard's wheels where they were worn down to nothing. But this one is let's get a measurement on it, because I'd be interested to know. I just by eyeball. We got this one wheel is 2.127, and this wheel is 2.26. 2.147, 2.2, it's a tenth. It's almost a tenth smaller, so in one season of flying we kind of wore one tire out, so I want to make sure that I can change those tires. So I'll probably make the wheel pants split in the center so you can change the tires. So that'll be a little different. I ended up getting a couple motors on eBay. Super Tiger 60s. This is one of them. I ordered the Randy Smith Venturi spray bar. This is the other one. So I got some backup 60s. This one probably could, yeah, it'll be alright, I suppose. They were kind of gummed up when I got them. I put some fuel in them and run them through. Got a super deal on them. So that's a good strong one right there. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're going to end the day. I'm not going to come back today. I'll go ahead and finish this elevator and get it ready to go. And we'll come back tomorrow on day 7 and see where we stand. So we'll see you tomorrow. Until then, tight lines. Well, I made the trek to the hobby shop, and fortunately I found 2 pieces of 1/4 inch aircraft contest balsa that were usable for the flaps. I was going to use 3/8, but we're going to try to keep this true to form, and the plans call for 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the pinprick method and cut the outboard flap out first, then we'll turn it over and do the inboard flap. Pretty simple, not real complicated. Get it on the line there. Let's get a pin, stick it down. Trying to utilize getting as much out of this piece of balsa as I can, so I'm going to try to get both flaps out of one piece. I'm not sure that'll work, and it wouldn't work this way. So we need to put the big end the other way. So we move this down. If I'd have done that, we'd only got one out of that piece of wood. Now we should be able to get both of them out of one piece. Right there. So we'll start the pinprick method. About every 1/4 inch you put a hole. Now these flaps separate right here, but we're only going to make one line. We're not going to make 2 lines because that would make the gap too wide. We'll sand them to fit. This is what held up the wing production, was I didn't have any 1/4 inch. Get this done, the wing will be completely finished, and I can give a weight on what that is, what the completed wing is. And I think it's going to be somewhere in the 12.5 ounce range, and it's not great, but it's more than acceptable for a free model. I spent a little bit on it, but really looking forward to flying this airplane. I'm going to have to get a set of 60-foot lines, because I no longer have those. Of course, I do have 1,000 foot. I guess I could make up a set. Yep, we'll get both flaps out of this piece. That's a good thing. There was a thread on stun hanger about number 11 X-Acto blades. I get number 11 X-Acto blades for $14. But I also noticed on the thread that they were talking about number 11 scalpels from eBay. So I went and bought a scalpel and a number 11 set off eBay. It was $6 with free shipping and 100 blades. So we're going to give the scalpels a try. And now I got to get comfortable to cut this line right here. We'll make 2 passes to get it cut because I don't want it to follow the grain. by the way this models out, the only place I'm going to use my hinges on is the elevator. I can't use them on this 1/4 inch because they're made for 3/8, so we're going to have to use plate hinges on the flaps, but that's alright. And that's it. Let's see how it looks. This was the outboard. It will be perfect. Perfect. So I'm going to cut the other flap. You'll notice I ended up having enough room to cut the other flap. It's not identical to the outboard. The outboard is about a 1/8 of an inch wider cord. So, but it's close. So we got flaps. Talking on the phone with Randy Smith, he said, "What are your flaps going to weigh? An ounce apiece?" And I said, "I hope not. Let's see what they are." And this, remember, this is not sanded up. 17 grams. That's a good flap weight, and it's straight. So I'll cut the camera, cut the other flap. We'll get that started up, and we'll be back in a short, so see you in a few. Okay, what I'm going to cover next is horn bending and how I do it. Now this takes a little practice. We're going to take and mark with a felt tip pen, a Sharpie, where the horns get bent. And I'm going to bend mine about a 1/16 of an inch oversized than this because I'm using my style of hinges. Now the bearings on this have to be put on before we can bend them. So I'm going to have to dig those up. So I'll be back in a second. That's exactly what it took, about a second to find them. What I have here is my hinges with 3/32 grommets, brass bushings installed into them. So we're going to go ahead and slide these on. On both sides. Now the horn that I'm using is a boomerang shaped horn, and how you bend this is you want this 90 degrees to the wire. You don't want to bend it like that straight up and down, because then you won't have any place to pull. So you want to bend it right straight up and down. And what I have here is the I believe it's K&S, but I'm not exactly sure who made this bender, but since I found it, I used to use a 2-pin bender, not very good. I haven't used anything but this. Anyway, you make this completely straight up and down with the wire. You take the handle, you put that right, it's bend allowance, you put that right on the pin, and then we're going to just pull it around. I want to sight down this way and make sure that we got it exactly straight up and down. I almost killed it. we'd have had them bent the wrong direction. They have to go back the other way. Yes, indeed. Almost killed it. I think I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger even, because it would be better for the bender. Let's see here. Interesting. Measure twice, cut once. Can't get the bearings to so small. Let's see if I can position it a different way. The bearings. Nope. It's got to go on that side. So we're going to rethink this. We'll take these marks off. And we're going to have to extend them out a 1/4 inch more. So we will come boy, every time I look at these plans, they're just not exactly right. I don't understand what the deal is. I'm going to come out a 1/4 inch more on each one. And we're going to bend it up. Ah, yes, much better. So if I bend it there, yep, that's right. You take the handle, put it on the pin, bend it around. Normally I would have this clamped down, but because I'm shooting videos, I can't. Want to make sure that's at 90. Very good. Okay, now we'll do the other side. See, the problem is these bearings. They don't let's try repositioning the fixture. That's better. Now keeping it level, put the bender on there. Good 90 degrees. And tweak them so that they're parallel to each other. And now we have a horn that's bent up. I have, because I was a mechanic, I have some miniature bolt cutters by Nipex. These are about $75. But for cutting piano wire, nothing's easier. So we'll measure down here. there you have it. Now we can install this setup into the stabilizer. I needed to do this first before I sanded the stabilizer. I did start sanding the stabilizer here on this side, and I'll get to this side on camera. But I just wanted to see how it was going to look. And we have to sand these two together, so I have to basically install the hinges, put the two together, sand as a unit so that it has a nice fit, so to speak. So give me a few minutes. Matter of fact, we won't do that. What I do is I have some hand drills. These are by Jim Lee. If you don't have them, they're nice to have. And we're going to embed the bearings into the fairings on the back side here. So I'm going to drill a hole here. Just center it up, hand drill it down. Keeping it at a 90 degrees and perpendicular. You're going to have to drill in about an inch, because that's how long the tang is. That's one. If you'll notice when you've been watching my movies, this is not real difficult. That's one of the reasons why I don't understand why, people say the builder of the model rule or whatever. Well, this has been a long-standing tradition since this hobby started, and I believe that's what makes stunt, is the builder of the model rule. Now we have one issue with my hinges. If you'll notice here, it's got a square end. Let me zoom in. It's square, flat. When I designed these, I hadn't thought about having the pocket hinge and it concaved, and they don't quite fit in there. They stick out a bit. So what I've been doing is just taking the moto tool, the Dremel, and a cutoff wheel, and cutting an angle on them. Like that. So it looks more like a lollipop than a lollipop with a square side on it. relatively fast. These are the Tom Morris horns, available through Stunhanger Hobby. The back one is a bushed horn. It had a real wide bushing, about 3/8 of an inch wide. I just took the cutoff tool there and cut it close because the fuselage on the Continental is only about, right there, it's only a 1/2 inch wide at the most, and I would say maybe closer to 3/8. So you need to give yourself a little clearance there. So then you just stick these hinges in here and force them down into the hole. I should have drilled them 1/8 inch. Let's see if I can find the 1/8 inch bit. 9/64s. 7/64s. Come on, guys. 1/8 inch. Yeah, I have the tangs cut to 1/8 inch, and I drilled the hole a little small. You talk about a simple system of hinging. This is the way to go. I wish I would have listened to my friend years ago and done this, because I love them. Okay. Push them in. Sure it's parallel to the trailing edge. We're going to have to make a small notch right here, just very small. You can do that a couple of ways: sandpaper, knife, file, doesn't much matter. I've got a square file here. We'll file a little notch right there. That way the horn has full travel. And it does. See, if you look there, it's full travel now. Okay. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and cut it a little wider so we got a little slot. Real happy with the weight of the elevator. 1 3/4 ounces so far. It should be lighter when I sand it. That beats the heck out of them big elevators for the big airplanes that weigh 3 ounces, 4 ounces, and up. So this is what we have so far. And if you give me a few minutes, I will have it all dialed out here, and we'll be back. I had already drilled one of the holes there. A little off, so I need to re-drill that. I'll fill that up and re-drill it. So I'll be back in a short. Okay, after getting the elevators and stabilizers drilled, cut, and ready to go, I need to install the hinges. One of the things that I've been lacking for the hinges is a installation tool. I have to keep doing each one, and they're not perfect. So I'm going to I hacked off a piece of 1/8 inch plywood. I'm going to take this over to my bandsaw, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make an installation tool. So, well, I'll just leave the camera run. It might take me a second to true this up. on the table saw. Well, I think I've got it. And while I was over there sawing, I thought of something else. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this handle. That much to see. Just rounded the corners off. And we're going to glue that right in the center of this tool. It'll be basically like a installation tool for the plate hinges, only with a little twist. What do you know? No glue coming out. Looks like this bottle's about done. I'll have to open up a new one here. Yeah. Pulled out the end. Oh boy. It just does not want to play today. There's a gentleman in the hobby shop today while I was in there asking about CA. And it's amazing the amount of disinformation you get, even from the so-called experts. I gave the guy, after the guy at the hobby shop was done with him, I gave the guy about a 5-minute talk on how CA works and what you can do with it. He was going to have the guy glue plastic models together with this. It'd be better to use acetone or something like that than straight CA. Okay. Okay, we have a handle on a piece of plywood. We need a notch that's 3/8 of an inch deep here, plus we need a groove that's 3/16 of an inch. So let's measure this. I just eyeball this. It's not quite 3/8. So I'm gonna have to cut a piece. Let me think about this for a minute. We want this an inch wide, so we want that an inch wide. So I'm going to be sure wish they made these rulers so I could read them. Inch wide. So we got 3/8, 7/16. I need 2 pieces 7/16 and 1 piece 3/8. So mark it off. Well, at least you didn't see me cut my fingers off for anything stupid. Okay, so now we have the 3/8 piece. We're going to stand it straight up, like so, in the center of this piece of plywood. And then I'm going to put one of these on this side. And believe me, I just thought this up on the fly. I was going to do it a little different, but this should be better. That way each one of the hinge pockets looks the same, because I've been doing it by eye. now we just get some sandpaper. Why is that not sticky? I have to CA it in there. Sure enough, for some reason it lost its stick. But that won't deter me. Glue it down. Stuck on there now. I'm gonna get my razor blades if I can find them. I'm gonna have to move the camera back. Huh. Lost the blades. Where the heck would they have gone? Here they are. I will use X-Acto. New blade. Couldn't believe what I read. That one guy uses 5 blades. I go through hundreds of them. No sense in making it tough on yourself. Don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to give her a try. I don't see why it won't. Alright, now we just need a piece of sandpaper on the top of that, and should be good to go. I'm just going to eyeball this, and we're going to cut the piece before I glue it on there, because it would be very difficult to get on there. It needs to be an 1/8 inch wide, or thereabouts. And we cut that. I'm going to glue that on here. Aggravating. Remember, if it looks right, it's probably right. There we go. Now, most people would take a test piece and test their equipment. But I'm so confident that this is going to work, I'm just going to use it. So let's give it a try. There's the tool that I made. Sure like this to be cleaner over here. I don't know that we can sand that off or not. Yeah. Alright, so now I already have the these two pieces marked. We'll just hold this up straight up. I think I might see if I can figure out a power tool for this. This is definitely did a nice job of putting a notch in it. I'm not sure that's deep enough. Well, let's see if that's going to work. I hinge, the wire goes through the hinge. And I'm going to go ahead and drill a small hole in it. Right in the center where the wire can go in. I hope you all can see this. I'm drilling down through this with a hand drill. It's perfect, and the next thing that's done is a balsa cap is put over the top of this and sanded to shape, and these are pushed on and glued in, and that's it. So my hinge making tool worked perfectly. So I'll be back in a bit after I get all these done. No sense in watching me do this over and over again, so be back in a minute.